What is going on, guys? Welcome to a special video and a special career mode. Now, as I said before in a previous video, we will be going into the F1 classic car career mode, or the classic championship season, as you can see on the screen right now. In this season, we'll be racing in the 2004 Ferrari, simply because I wanted to have a lot of fun in this Ferrari, and this is a great car. This is the first classic car I pretty much drove in on this game, and it's amazing with its speed and its sound and its power. But we'll get straight into the video and I'll talk about it more.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk, and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
So, as you're going to see in the background shortly, we'll be doing qualifying. Now, I've decided to do no practice for this career mode, or this classic championship season. And if you don't know what it means by the classic championship season, basically the game will give us classic circuits that were used in pretty much when the classic cars were around. So we're not going to have the full F1 2017 calendar. We're just going to have a select few classic circuits. I don't get the choice, the game selects it for me, and we're going to race around those. I believe it's about 10 or 11 maybe races, so not a whole bunch, but I have a lot of plans for season 2. And so in the season, you're going to see a mix of cars. And what I've done is for the more modern classic cars, so from 2000 I think to about 2010 is going to be our classic career mode. I might change it to the 80s and 90s for the next season, or I might do pretty much 2004 cars only. It'll make it more fair and it'll make it more balanced, but at the moment we're doing a mix of the current modern type classic cars, not the current Formula 1 cars. But as we come around the final corner now, we're 1.5 seconds up on our personal best qualifying time. We're going to come across the finish line to set a 1:25. Not fast enough, we're still P4, but we're going to go around for another lap, I believe. And coming to the end of lap 4, we lock up, and well, we don't lock up, we just didn't brake enough, and we're going off onto the grass, and this is going to be us into the pits, and we're going to be P4 for the time being, almost losing the rear end, about to hit the wall, and we're going to lock up as we go into the pits. We've got to get used to the car as well, because what I've noticed is the 2004 car especially loves to go high revs, low gears into corners, while the current 2017 cars love to go in the low revs and high gears for corners. But that's going to be P8 for us for the race of the Australian Grand Prix.
A tough race in store then for our drivers today. So tell me, Anthony Davidson, what will you be looking out for as the cars make their way down into turn 1?
Well, first of all, let's hope that everyone's well behaved and we can have a nice incident-free start. That initial release is going to be the most interesting thing. And the clean side of the grid will be better rubbered in, so keep an eye out for cars over there potentially making their way through.
So here we are for the race. As always, we're going to check the race strategy, just making sure everything looks good. And as you can see, we're actually expected to do no stops. So I'm not sure if this career mode will be no stops, but we're going to skip the formation lap as always, because this is just a mini type classic career mode, or a career mode we're doing. So we're not going to do the full formation lap, we're just going to skip it. And we're going to go straight into the race. In heading into this race, I'm not expecting a lot of things. I'm expecting to at least beat the 2008 McLaren, or I think it's the 08 McLaren, or maybe 07 McLaren, and at least the 2010 Red Bull. The 2004 Ferraris in front of me might be a bit tricky because They are the same spec as mine, but we're going to go straight into the race as the lights are about to come on now. Very soon the lights will be coming on as the rest of the field lines up into their grid spots, and here we go for the race as we have 3 lights, sorry, now 4, now 5. Lights out and away we go. A long time for the lights to be held on though. Almost wheel spin, that went crazy. But we're going to go down the inside on the Ferraris and go down the inside. We're getting pushed out, and that is our front wing damaged already. Not great for the start of this race. We're going to have to continue on this race with a damaged front wing, simply because we cannot pit, otherwise we're going to not actually catch up to anyone, since everyone else will not be in the pits at all this race. So we're going to continue on. We're currently in P6, so we've made up positions at least, and we're going to go and try and attack the driver in front, who I believe is the same car as us, the 2004 Ferrari. The car behind it, I believe, is also a 2004 Ferrari, so expect at least the top 5 to be 2004 Ferraris, maybe a Red Bull. I see, there we go, a Red Bull in 3rd place. So interesting how a Red Bull actually made it into the top 5. But coming on to the favorite section of this track for me, just this, I don't know how to explain it. It's just so amazing to, if you get it perfect, not like that though, but if you get it perfect, if you can pretty much sit along the right hand side of the wall and hit the apex perfectly, you can get the chicane perfect, and it feels great. But we're going to come on to the end of the lap very shortly. Second last corner about to be approached, still sitting behind this driver in front of us. It's hard to pronounce their names because they're not exactly English names as such, but it seems that we have Mary first place, setting a fast lap as expected. So Mary must have got P1 for qualifying, as now on lap 2 we've caught up to the back of this Ferrari, locking up our front right. A little bit dangerous. We're going to have some trouble though. As you can see, our left front plate, our left wing front plate is damaged. It's not even there. Locking up into the second last corner, it's just going to be very tough on the heavy braking corners. We're going to just lock up. But now we're going to be under attacked from Cusada, I think. It's hard to pronounce that, but now lap 4 we've caught up to Waldmuller. And there is a perfect example of the understeer we're going to have for this. And locking up again and understeer. Look at this. Just lock-ups and understeer is what we're going to have when we have a damaged front wing, especially the left-hand side. The left-hand corners, or the right-hand corners, sorry, are going to be tricky for us. Locking up onto the gravel, and there goes P6 to Cusada, and that is going to be that. Now on lap 11, we skipped a lot of the laps simply because nothing much happened. Cusada is in front of us. We're catching up to him actually, and coming through the chicane now. Almost a perfect apex, hitting that apex perfectly. Half a second up and fastest. We've set a purple in sector 2. So let's see what we can do for sector 3. Cusada is still ahead of us. We're sort of getting the track position perfectly. We're going to see what happens into the second last corner. No lock-ups it seems, so good for that. But still, we're just having trouble putting the power down. The front just starts to push away and understeer simply because of that broken front wing. Maxing out the revs almost on this straight in the slipstream of Cusada. Catching up to him, we put the car into rich mix for the field to try and catch up, to try and overtake, because now we are on lap 12. Not many laps remaining for this race, for this first classic car career mode. Still, Cusada is just ahead of us, only marginally ahead of us, as I thought we were going to understeer through that corner, but we didn't do so. We're going into the greens for sector 1. That is exactly what we need. Almost a little correction there, but we still have the position right behind, and we're going to make a almost an overtake there, as Cusada, I believe, just broke early, or we broke later. But that is still us in P7 on lap 12, coming up to the chicane now. Didn't hit the apex, and we almost clipped that apex, so not a perfect line through there. Cusada got the perfect line, and there he goes. And Mary sets a 125.9, I believe that was, for the fastest lap, as we lock up our front right again. And it's always this corner that we've walked up into, and there goes Kusada ahead of us, and that is him pretty much driving away into the sunset now as we come around the final corner. As you can see, Kusada is just ahead of us, and we're going onto the grass. So now the tyres are starting to have issues. I'm not sure if it was me or the tyres, but lap 14, the car just felt alive towards the end of the race now. On the final 2 laps, the car just came alive. It might be the tyre wear. As soon as you get past a certain level, it just comes back, or maybe the fuel not being there anymore. But that is us catching up to Kusada on lap 14, coming up to the chicane. Can we get this at least perfect? First time perfect, almost hitting the apex and jumping that apex as Mary sets another fastest lap, a 125.5. Now on lap 15, we're on the rear of Kusada on his gearbox, almost making a mistake there. We almost went into the gravels, but we did go deep into that corner, as now we have to make the catch up again for all the work that we've done to catch up to Kusada. Going red, not what we need, almost a second down in sector 1 compared to our previous fastest sector 1. Not great, especially when the fuel should be pretty much minimal at this stage. I'm not sure if I put extra fuel in at the start of the race, I cannot remember, but coming up to the chicane for the final time, can we do anything here? Can we catch up? Can we overtake? We're going to find out. Almost hitting it, and Kusada, I don't know what happened to Kusada in front of us, but they just slowed down middle of the chicane and we caught up a lot. Mary wins the race, and that is not going to be that, because P6 is still for the pretty much taking at the moment. Coming up to the second last corner now, can we do a dive bomb or anything? Locking up both wheels, and that is going to be that. Onto the grass, spinning the tyres and almost into the wall, and unfortunately that is going to be P7 for us as we come across the line in a broken Ferrari, but still P7, much better than our qualifying in, what was it, F1 2017 career mode. Not as great as the P5 we got in F1 2017, but that is the classic car race for F1 2017. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm sorry that this commentary hasn't been great. It's been a rushed commentary. But if you have enjoyed this sort of series and think it's going to be great, please let me know, and pretty much just let me know what you expect or what you want to see for Season 2, even though it's still a while away. It would be nice to know what you guys want to see in terms of a classic career mode. If you want to see just a certain type of cars, like maybe the 2004 Ferraris only, or maybe you want to see a range of cars or even a mix of both, I can do that. But until then, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this race. That is us, P7 Mary, and Mary wins the race, and as you can see, a lot of Ferraris won it. Only a Red Bull came third. But that has been the race. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for most likely the F1 2017 Career Mode Part 2.